So today is the last Sunday in our series on music. Music is the universal language of the world, so it seems, and it really seems to have the potential to also bring people together. We may have very different tastes in music, but I've not met anyone who says, "I don't like music." Our tastes in music are deeply personal, as it would be. And it's okay to say, not everybody likes the music here. And someone left this morning already when it was loud. Likes and dislikes often stem from culture and race, exposure, education, class, race. We have different backgrounds and foundations in music. Music often says, as we've been saying, what our words often fail to express, or where our words fall short. Music also can set the mood. Singing Siyahamba can change how you might be feeling or the mood you arrived in. Music can be an escape for us. We can turn on the music and we can turn off the world. So after the last 3 Sundays, we've explored the theology of songs that we sing regularly in worship. For everyone born, be the center and God of justice. For everyone born reminds us that everyone is included at the table, and we celebrated communion together that Sunday. We are reminded that we are accepted and that we belong. Be the center reminds us that there's a lot of noise going on, and we can be thrown off center. And we need to find ways to bring ourselves back in touch with our divinity within. God of justice last week reminded us that we could declare that God is the God of justice and invites each one of us to that work of justice. So today, Siyahamba. Literally, Siya meaning we, and hamba means to go or to leave. Then if you add the rest of the phrase, kukanyin, which is its light, and kwenkos is the king. So it literally means we are walking in the light of the King of Kings, Lord of Lords that we sang about in Crown Him with Many Crowns. We are walking in the light of God. I wonder literally what that looks like, walking in the light of God. As you mentioned, you kind of have to think about it a little bit, what that is. Maybe it looks something like somebody dancing and walking at the same time to their favorite songs. Think of it literally as walking. Think about how people walk, how you walk. Some people have some very peculiar walks. Would you agree? Do you know somebody like that? In fact, you could pick them out from a distance by their walk, even if they were not facing you. Just watch if this comes together, a short little clip from movies about showing us different walks. You knew who that was by the walk, hey? How do you walk? And what does your walk look like? What does it look like to walk in the light of God? The kind of walk I experience from many people is not light. I know what kind of walk looks like that, and also what it does to my soul. I know what it sounds like when they're not really quite walking in the light of God. I sense it quickly. Do you? When someone walks into a room, what happens? How do you experience that person's energy? And is it with dread? You want to walk around, hide, duck? This week, when I was walking home during rush hour traffic, I walked to the light at McDowell and 3rd Street. And as I approached, the walk sign lit up, and I thought, great timing. 110 degrees, stepped off the curb, but even just a little before I stepped off the curb, it starts counting down. There's more. I've got plenty of time, and I did. But there was a male in a very oversized black truck that was not planning to yield to me. He turned right in front of me in the crosswalk with his window down and his mouth fully opened and his finger pointing in full shaming position, said, "You know you're not supposed to cross when it turns red." That's what I said. I thought it wasn't even at 0 yet. It was not the walk of light, the sound from him. On Monday, this sermon wrote itself this week. On Monday, there was doing my rounds around the property, and everything withstood the storm. It was great. Everything was fine. I overheard in the distance a man walking down the street holding a lunch that we had given him at the door, shouting at another man on the other side of the street, "You know, you're a bum, don't you?" "Yeah, you heard me. I called you a bum." Not the walk of light. I was standing at the end of a line waiting to place an order for coffee. The woman second in the line decided that she was going to leave the line. Instead of turning around and going back out the end of the line, she went forward because that was the easier way out. And as she went forward, the woman who was first in line gave her a condescending look. Assuming that she was going to cut in front of her. She was actually being very polite. She got a call, and even though there was a long line, she went off to take the call. The woman was to the back of the woman, so she never saw the condemnation. But I did, and so did others. And to add to it, the women were not of the same racial group, which added another element to the patronizing look. Do you experience this negativity, not the light of God energy in the air? Are there certain people that you steer clear of because you know they are about to bring on the negativity? I feel like I'm that person right now, bringing you all this negative energy. The person walks into the room, and they just launch into it. They say, "You won't believe what just happened to me. Can you believe it? Someone cut me off in traffic. These people won't return my phone calls. I'm so tired. I'm so busy. I work so hard. Other people are not pulling their weight. Did you see what that happened then? Why would someone do that? That's not a great idea." Everything is wrong. Every reflection of their day is negative, negative, negative. And the brilliant part is that that person played no part in it. Always somebody else. Sounds like walking in a cloud of negativity. One of my good friends is married to a really loving man. And he has a very high-profile corporate job. He deals with big money and makes major decisions that affect thousands of people every day. And every day he walks in the door of the home and he turns it all off. His energy is positive and encouraging. He asks each of his children and his wife how their day was. And it's sincere. No matter how many hours he worked in a day or a week, he's positive and he's hospitable to who is in his home. He turns off the world and cares for those in his presence. He walks the light. I'm reminded today, too, of the incredible and important power and presence of teachers and the light that they're called to bring. Can you recall a teacher that walked into the classroom and just lit it up with this positive and encouraging, enthusiastic energy? I could name several teachers who walk in the light. They light up their classrooms. They light up their students. Teachers play one of the most influential and crucial roles in the lives of their students. And we don't pay them to do it. Leonard Cohen said, I'm sure you know this quote, "There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in." Some of you may not be very amused at the next picture because we just had our parking resurfaced and striped. When there's a crack, it's an opportunity for the light to get in. And I just marvel, right? And not the blacktop, but also through the paint. There are cracks. There are cracks in the treatment of our immigrants. There are cracks in our marriages and partnerships. There are cracks in our friendships. There are cracks in the medical system. There are cracks in our services to those who find themselves homeless. There are cracks in our families. There are cracks in the way that we care for people who are mentally ill. There are cracks in our friendships. There are cracks in our thinking. There are cracks in our churches and our religious institutions. There are cracks in our education system. There are cracks in me. Could I get some more light here, please? See, we have incredible power and potential to break through that negativity, what's condescending, what's discouraging, what's belittling, and let the light in. It's powerful. Energy, creativity, the possibility of light. And it is far more powerful than anything that tries to put it out. When the light is off, the contrast of bringing that light in is even more dynamic, and it gives it even greater power and potential. We're called to live in such a way that our light shines, that others can see that we are connected and that we are grounded in the source of light and the light of love. Christ said, "I am the light of the world." Christ said, "You are the light of the world." Sometimes we forget our own power, our own potential, when our walking doesn't reflect our connection to the source of the light. There are cracks. Let the light in. Where do you see cracks? Where do we need to bring more light? When you walk into a room, What are you emitting? How do others experience your energy? What is your walk? What do you bring onto the scene? We know that the task of remembering to walk in the light and spreading it, it isn't easy. In fact, Paul spoke about it in Philippians 2 when he spoke about in the midst of a crooked and perverse generation, and in which you shine like stars in the world. We don't walk in this world. We are grounded in Christ and in that world and that source, and we belong to the light. So I encourage you to find the light, to be the light. When you walk into your home, to be the light. When you walk into work, to be the light. When you greet people after the service, to be the light. To carry a torch of possibility, of hope and light. Know that the light is within you. You are the light. Christ is the light, and when you walk, you do not walk alone or as yourself. You are walking in the light of Christ. Walk like you're listening to your favorite song playing, bringing you joy and bringing joy to everyone around you. Light's just another name for the presence of love. Love that accepts and encourages, love that is hopeful and positive, love that reminds us of hope and of grace. And a reminder that the God of justice invites us into a relationship where Christ would be the center, the very light of our lives, and we would come to understand that everyone born is created to walk in the light.